Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. During the Modern Prog Rock Week, I made a mistake, and somehow Bent Knee was requested to be put into the poll, and it didn't make it there. It was an oversight on my part, so I promised that I would do a bonus video for the week to get Bent Knee reacted to. It's probably one of the highest requested bands right after Car Bomb. And it's like I mentioned, I think in one of the first two videos from last week, if they were in the poll, they would have dominated. They would have been Monday or Tuesday's band. So, in order to do right by them, and by all of you who continue to request them, the very loyal fans, we're going to check out some Bent Knee. And I was told by too many people, I don't know if too many is the right way. I was told by a lot of people to make sure to check out a live recording of them. So we are checking out Catchlight live at the Big Nice Studio. Let's get into it. Alright, so we got some digital drums. Nice little hip-hop beat going on here. We got a pitch-modified guitar.
Everyone knows my elbow should be nowhere near your
that little dip into some minor stuff.
as I slip my way into the room.
Beautiful vocals, very poppy. Ooh.
I'm sorry, I do not speak unless I.
Ugh, very crunchy. Anybody else getting like a grunge vibe? This reminds me of something, like a poppier version of something I listened to when I was much younger. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I do not speak unless I'm sure I'm right on you. Throw me like I've never been before. Swim me more, make me unroll. I wanna catch light.
The vocals, very 90s poppy. Reminds me of Mandy Moore. I like how many people are doubling up on instruments. Yes. Uh-huh. Oh, all right. So there is something deeply nostalgic about that for me, and I don't. What? What if Mandy Moore teamed up with Audio Slave? Like that's what I'm getting out of this, and I love it. It is so 90s, but also very modern. I don't. I hope you understand that one. That's one of the few things that I don't feel like I have a rambling ton of words to describe. That's just a feeling. Mandy Moore meets Audio Slave, and that's yeah. At least to me, that makes perfect sense. Um, Golly, there's just so much good here. So yes, it does. There's a lot of, I'd say, inspiration from grunge. I feel a lot of grunge in here. Audio Slave, Stone Temple Pilots, maybe. Um, like early Puddle of Mud stuff. Just, I don't know. It's got like this deep grungy sound to it, but with pop vocals and then a bit of some prog spice tossed in. Um, They play with dynamics beautifully. They play with energy beautifully. They play with atmosphere beautifully. When the song started, it felt like it had a bit of a hip hop vibe. Some of that I might attribute to, or hip hop, maybe some R&B too. I might attribute that to the drum pad. They worked with both electronic and acoustic drums. And then that paired with her very poppy vocals at the beginning. And then it kind of transformed into sort of a typical sparse, empty-ish, vulnerable grunge verse. It felt very 90s to me. It felt like childhood to me, that verse did. I do think it's interesting that I think they used a pitched down guitar rather than the bass that was sitting right next to the guitarist for that opening section. Um, I'm sure it was a tone or a texture thing. What for whatever reason, the the pitched down guitar sounded better than the bass for that section. It could be that the bass strings are wider. They have a wider sound to them, a fuller sound, and maybe they wanted something a little more tinier with in that pitch. And like I said, it's more of a texture thing, a tone thing. Um, and sorry, I'm so engrossed. I wanted to talk about this so bad. I still have that pulled up. Um, so yeah, that was interesting. Um, they have this energy about them during the the sparser section that felt like it could explode at any time, and I just love that. There's this, gunpowder quality to them that at any time they can just become something bigger than they are. And they showcased that a couple of times, going from uh, pretty much nothing to full on filling up the sound sphere. So I really dig that. There's just this electricity to the band, to this performance. I am exceptionally happy that I was pushed to watch this. I will probably be checking out some studio stuff relatively soon, maybe tonight, of Bent Knee. But assuming that everybody's correct and live is better, this performance was charged. And I'm glad that this is the first introduction to the band. Um, yeah, phenomenal stuff. But yeah, they showcased their dynamic play several times, and it's not so much a gradual movement like we see with, other bands who want to play a dynamics. We're usually, going from quiet to loud or loud to quiet. These guys are just on a dime, end of a beat. We're just jumping dynamics. We were, piano, and now we're fortissimo. We're just moving along. Um, And it's just, there's, like I said, there's this electricity, this energy to their playing. It feels like it's always on edge and it can just explode. Um, I do like also, interestingly enough, some of the post aspects that came in here. They have very gritty tones to their their digital instruments, electrical instruments. I obviously can't talk right now. Um, yeah, but there's like this really gritty tone they have on their guitars. Some of their synth work was a bit gritty. It's just, man, it's just grungy. I don't know if that is from their grunge influence or if they have a little bit of post rock, post metal influences in here as well. But the first time the whole band came in with those very sharp attacks, quarter notes, I think they were, that was just a really grungy sound, and it was just dirty and powerful, especially compared to the cleanliness we just. I mean, we were working with electric, digital drum samples, so it was a super clean sound before that. They come in and just dirty it up, and it is loud. It's aggressive. Like I said, it's you could see the guitars. We weren't doing up and down picking. It was deliberately all downstrokes just to get that real harsh attack in there. Nothing legato about it. And then that just sort of escalated through the rest of the song, just constantly keeping that energy, even in the moments when the band cut out and the vocalist would have a few bars to herself. The energy was palpable. She wasn't giving it up. It wasn't, the band didn't cut out to relieve any stress. The tension was increased actually because the vocalist was alone. She just had this way of holding on to the energy and even amplifying it in a couple of those sections, allowing the band to come back, bigger, even grittier, even, wider of a sound. It's just, oh man. And then that ending. At the beginning I said she reminded me of a bit of a pop vocalist, a little bit of Mandy Moore, but by the end, full on audio slave with the way that she was manipulating the vocal, not necessarily the words, but the way that she was singing them, and the way that she was not really holding out notes, but sort of bouncing. It was a very legato release and attack. As she's holding out these single syllables, but giving each beat its own attack, but just very subtly. It's not like it was a sharp. She wasn't cutting off her air and then starting it again to get, deliberate attacks on them. Just almost melding together in a sense. Just yeah, that ending could have fit in with just about any other of the big bands in the '90s on the radio. So yeah, just huge nostalgia trip for me. Like I said though, it's nostalgia with a mix of modernness. It's definitely a song that could not have existed in the '90s, but it feels so much like a '90s song, and that's a very strange feeling for me. We had something. I think it was either the Modern Prog week, one of them, or it was the week before. Maybe it was a special selection though. A song that I said it felt like coming home. It felt like nostalgia, even though I had never heard it before. And I'm kind of getting some of that here. Very interesting how those two things came together so close together. Showed up on the channel so close. The last thing I want to touch on is their instrument swapping. Almost everybody is doing double work here. Let me. Oh, that was a good shot. Let me get that back. All right, wait, where'd that go? It was a shot of almost the whole band from behind the. There we go, from behind the keyboardist, vocal. Oh, the vocalist. Okay, so um, the bassist also has a microphone. We heard her do backup vocals, harmonies once, twice maybe. It looks like she has a mini keyboard next to her, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. The guitarist has like a synthesizer pad in front of him. The singer has quite a few keyboards, well, two keyboards in front of her, as well as a ton of effects pedals. The violinist has a keyboard next to him, and the other guitarist who is doing the pitch down stuff is the only person with only one instrument around him. And then the drummer, of course, had the drum pad, which is not like a different instrument, but it's a little different. Um, than drum. Man, that's a weird distinction, right? Is a drum pad different than a drum kit? The technique's identical, but everything you're hitting is in a much smaller area. I think it requires more precision than a drum kit. I don't know. Maybe it's not a different instrument. But anyways, if we don't include it, we have two people who only play one instrument and then four who play double and sometimes triple. So 66% of the band is doing double duty. And I've mentioned it before, I love it when musicians can show off a little bit like this. Um, because one, it just shows how much they're capable of. You got the chops, show it off, put it in your music. Who was the band that did that? It was we checked them out a while ago. It was, somebody's experience, like the lead singer, lead guitarist. He put a super group together, and like midway through the song, everybody switched instruments. Like they just round robined away, and everybody picked up a new one, and everybody was shredding on their new instrument. So that was phenomenal. I can't remember what that was. But yeah, I'm a sucker for that. Okay, so often we see people just stick with their single instrument, and that's fine. You want to become a master of an instrument. I am not going to tell you that that's not a good way to go about it, right? But at the same time, there's something spectacular about seeing people play instruments of different styles of performance. I mean, seeing a guitarist switch to bass, they're kind of the same thing. They have their unique aspects to them, but overall the concept is identical. But seeing a guitarist switch to drums or a drummer switch to trumpet or something like that, there's a completely different skill set that's involved, and it really shows some dedication not to your singular craft, your single instrument, but the craft of music as a whole. And there's just something special to me about seeing people play multiple instruments. Plus, it introduces new hurdles to composition that I enjoy watching, because obviously you still only have so many ways of playing music. You have your four limbs. I guess if you want to try to bash something with your forehead, or poke a keyboard note, a key with your nose or something, there's ways to get creative, but we are physically limited about how many different things we can do at a time, and incorporating that into your writing. Who's going to be doing what? Can they do these two things at the same time? If they can't, if your guitarist has to continue playing guitar, who else can play keys? What instrument can be put down? What instrument can be played with one hand so the other hand can do some keyboard work? And it adds a puzzle function on top of composition, trying to figure out not only can what you've written be played, but can it be played physically within the restraints of the six people in your band. So I just enjoy that from a composition side too. So yeah, seeing people play multiple instruments throughout a song hits me on both a performance and a composition level, and I love it. So when the song was over, I had one word. It was yes. I think that's what I said. I hope that's what I said, or else I'm going to sound real dumb. Yes, 100%. I wish we had looked up Bentley earlier. I do. This is assuming that this is very indicative of their style. Much like checking out Vulcan yesterday, this is something I need to dig more into. This is right up my alley, and I am loving it. It's pop pop prog grunge. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm calling it that, and I need more of it. Oh, also, female-led vocals. That's just the icing on the cake. I think I've said it before. I don't know what it is about female vocals in rock or grittier music, but it's always sort of a tipping point for me. I don't know what it is about that tone and texture, but it always seems to work better for me. just sort of a personal bias I have, and having that, having the female vocals on top of this is just, yeah, it's just something that is perfectly right up my alley, and I'm digging it. Can't wait to check out more of this. So that's where we're at today. Those are my thoughts on Bethany, and I will probably I will try to have more Bethany on the channel, but also there's a chance that I might devour their entire discography this week, and I won't be able to react to anything until they put something new out. That is just a possibility, okay? I can't promise any more Bethany reactions. So yeah, those are my thoughts though. Hit me up with yours. Put them down in the comments. Let me know what you thought of Bethany's Catch Light live at the Big Nice Studios. Let me know if this is indicative of their style. I'm going to be digging into their work, so I'm going to figure it out eventually, but having the right headspace to get in always helps. Let me know if there's other songs I should be checking out from Bethany as well. There's a description above the comments section if you'd like to check out any links adjacent to the channel, such as the Discord channel, the Discord server, or the Patreon campaign. Those links are in the description as well. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC, with maybe 1 or 2 videos. I don't know. It depends on what kind of time I have to record. I'm trying to catch back up, so we're back on schedule. I have to do half of... I have to do this entire special selection week, and it is Thursday. I have to get Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays done. So I'm trying to catch up. So sometimes we'll have 2 a day if I can get around to it, if I have the time to record 2 videos. Until next time, remember to be critical and not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.